This is the Barbados Today morning news for Wednesday, June 28th. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. At least one stalwart of the governing Democratic Labour Party is dismissing the leadership ambitions of Agriculture Minister Dr. David Estwick. Estwick declared his interest in replacing Prime Minister Frendel Stewart at the helm of the party following a Cadres poll that shows support for Stewart and the DLP are at an all-time low. He also said he was the best man for the job, but the former trade unionist Robert Bobby Morris branded Estwick's statement as foolishness. Morris is also dismissing the opinion poll, saying it was out of touch with reality. He also accused pollster Peter Wickham of deliberately selecting districts that support the opposition Barbados Labour Party. Meanwhile, the former Deputy Prime Minister, Sir Philip Graves, told Barbados Today that Estwick should concentrate on retaining his seat in the next election. In other news this morning, the Ministry of Education and the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union are headed for a legal showdown. This after teachers' salaries were docked for participating in a protest march in April. An attempt to bar the ministry from cutting teachers' pay failed last week. The teachers filed an injunction last Thursday, but it could not be heard on Friday, as the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education, June Chandler, was not served until later that day. The hearing was scheduled for yesterday before Justice Pamela Beckles, but the teachers' salaries had already been docked. This prompted the BSTU to sue government in a bid to have their pay restored. Union President Mary Redmond says she believes the BSTU has a strong case.
Our salaries will be reinstated, our monies will be reinstated, and that it would set a precedent and underscore the fact that trade unions in this country have a right and a responsibility to meet with their members as the need arises. Unions engage in very dynamic work. The school especially is a very dynamic institution, and we have to be able to respond to the needs of our members as those needs arise. And those needs arise at any point in time during the teacher's work day, and that work day of a teacher starts with the waking up till the going to sleep, the going to bed of that teacher, because teachers work way before school starts, they work way after school starts, they work in their homes. And so when is the work day of a teacher? At what time would we ever be able to hold a meeting if one attempts to define when the workday of a teacher begins and ends?
Meanwhile, Education Minister Ronald Jones says he is not aware that the teachers' salaries was docked, and it was not within his power to alter anyone's pay. The Barbados Association of Masqueraders is adding its voice to calls for a review of the controversial 10% National Social Responsibility Levy. Effective July 1st, the levy will be increased from 2 to 10%. But a statement from the BAM President, Chetwin Stewart, is calling on Finance Minister Chris Sinclair to rescind the tax on masqueraders, saying it would jeopardize crop over. Last month, the association secured a $50,000 increase in subventions from Culture Minister Stephen Lashley, but Stewart argues that it will now be difficult for them to meet the expected increase in prices of supplies. According to Stewart, the tax will not only affect the importation of all costume inputs, but almost every aspect of producing a band, as everything is imported. There is still no national consensus on the proposed bill to address sexual harassment in the workplace. This was evident at a panel discussion hosted by Men's Health Group at the Maurice Bayer Polyclinic earlier this week. Panelist, attorney at law Roseanne Richards, said reporting such issues remains a problem. And the former chairman of the Men's Education and Support Association, Ralph Boyce, took issue with what he said was international agencies foisting their views on Barbados, given there are certain cultural norms that may be perceived as sexual harassment.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Good morning, Phillips & Company, may I help? Oh, certainly. One moment, please. Miss Phillips? Yeah? There's a lady on the line from the Nation newspaper who would like to speak with you.
The Nation? Will she go on?
Well, they're trying to sell us some ads.
Look, don't make me laugh this morning. ads in the nation. They're real expensive, and for one year, nobody ain't buying them papers no more. Nobody ain't want to steal news. I hear reading Barbados Today online for free. So I tell she thanks for calling, but no thanks. We just advertising Barbados Today, families. Tell she is Barbados Today all the way.
Okay, I'll pass on the message. Mom, are you still there? Oh, she put it down.
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We go now to news from the region. And in Suriname, the murder trial of President Desi Bouterse is set to resume today. A military court in Paramaribo will hear evidence in the trial of Bouterse for his alleged role in the 1982 murders of 15 political opponents of his then military government. In June last year, the government invoked Article 148 of the Constitution, claiming that the continuation of the trial posed risks to the country's national security. The Court of Justice rejected a motion to stop the trial last month. Bouterse has never showed up in court since the trial began in 2008. He has always been represented by his lawyers. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro is warning that he and his supporters will take up arms if his government is overthrown. Opponents have been holding street protests for the past 3 months. 75 people have died so far in the unrest. Maduro issued the threat at a rally to promote next month's vote for a constituent assembly, which could rewrite the national charter and supersede other institutions such as the opposition-controlled Congress. He is touting the assembly as the only way to restore peace in the country. But opponents are dismissing the poll as a sham designed to keep the socialists in power. And finally, there's growing concern over the security of global networks following a major cyber attack yesterday. It disrupted computers at Russia's biggest oil company, Ukrainian banks, and multinational firms with a virus similar to the ransomware that infected more than 300,000 computers last month. We get more in this Reuters report.
The ransomware virus crippled computers running Microsoft Windows by encrypting hard drives and overwriting files, then demanded $300 in Bitcoin payments to restore access. U.S. Department of Homeland Security advising victims not to pay the extortion, saying that doing so does not guarantee that access will be restored. Tuesday's attack was less damaging than WannaCry since many people have since patched up their vulnerability in Microsoft.
But fundamentally, we're still seeing a lot of companies, a lot of individual computer users in all sorts of places not using or not patching their systems. That leaves them open to attack, and this continues to be a problem, not just for them and their work, but more broadly. We see hospitals getting affected, banks, and so forth. So this is a serious problem.
The attacks have once again fanned criticism of the NSA, which had surveillance tools leaked online that were repurposed by hackers to carry out both Tuesday's attack and the WannaCry campaign last month. After hitting Russia and Ukraine, the virus infected other victims across Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Poland, and the United States, among others.
That's news this morning. You can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. You can find us on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. We're also on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Mary Claire Williams. Have a good morning.